Sine law. The difference and the reason we have to learn something new and why SOHCAHTOA won't work anymore is we'll no longer work with right angle triangles. So that means one of our angles won't be 90 degrees like it used to be. If you have a 90-degree triangle, you can use SOHCAHTOA, you can use Pythagorean theorem, if you remember what those are. If not, we'll review it after Christmas and you're fine. For now, not 90-degree triangles, so you can't use SOHCAHTOA. You must use Sine Law. The Sine Law is pretty easy. And it can be used to find any missing sides and any missing angles, as long as you have a couple things present. What I say that has to be present is something called a matching side. So that means you must have one side given to you and the angle that corresponds with that side. So if we were to look at this first one, this side length corresponds with that angle. This side length corresponds with this angle. And this angle corresponds with this side length. So we are going to always circle our triangles and our diagrams like this so that we remember to pair things up. This angle with the side right across from it. This angle with the side right across from it. And this angle with the side right across from it. So if we were to look at this other one, you just do the same thing. B right across, A right across, and C right across. I'm going to erase that because I want to just look at this and talk about triangles a little bit. Because your answers, I want you to be always able to quick check. Meaning, look to see if your answer even makes sense. Because it should always make sense if you did it right. And what I mean is, it doesn't have to match up with the diagram. So if it says 6 centimeters, but it's clearly like 3, like that's not going to be what I'm talking about. What I mean is that it matches up with the angle you were given. The bigger the angle, the bigger the side length that it's corresponding with. So if you look at this triangle right here, B is clearly the biggest angle by far. So that means the side length that's with it should also be the biggest side length by far. And it is. If you look at it, that side length is way longer than the other side lengths. It'll always work out that way. So when you get answers, you should be able to compare it to the other angles and side lengths. Be like, that makes sense. If you can't do that, then you're in a little bit of trouble. Because you're not going to be able to quick check your answers. And it's always nice to be able to just look back at it. Yeah, that's what it is. Because that works out, where angles always work out to have bigger sides like that. That's where your sine law comes from. It actually always works out perfectly. Meaning that if you took sine of A, so sine of angle A, and you were to divide it by side length A, that would be the exact same as if you did any of the other angles and sides. So you could do sine B over B, and you could also do sine C over C. That's the sine law. It's saying if you take the sine of an angle and divide it by the side length, it must be the exact same as the side of any other angle and its side length. You can also flip it completely upside down and put all the side lengths on the top and all the sines on the bottom. And it would still work out the exact same. Soccer.
For example, if you had your sine of A was 40 divided by A, which was 10, and your answer is 4. So then if you flip it, you'll go A divided by sine A, which will get 10.
You wouldn't get the same answer, but if you were comparing it to this one, and you flip that one, it would also be the same. Okay, we're going to take this law, we're going to apply it a little bit. So, the first thing you need to do is make sure you're setting it up properly. They've given you a triangle, and they've set it up 3 different times. And you have to figure out which one is properly set up. So it says find side length JK. If you don't know what side length JK is, follow the rule that it tells you. It's saying go to J and draw a straight line to K. And that's the side length you're looking for. Whatever you just drew, that's the side length you're looking for. So you're actually looking for this side length right here. Here's the trick. Find your matching pair. Where on this diagram do you have an angle that matches with the side? K and little k, right there. That's 1. That's your matching side. Your other one is going to be the one you're looking for. So this is the other pair, because that's the one we are asked to look for. When setting up your sine law, you need to have both sine on the top and then side lengths on the bottom, or reverse. So if you look at this first one, they've gone 7.7 divided by sine of 107. Are those 2 matching pairs? Yeah, so that's okay. This first part, that's allowed. The second part then says sine of 40 divided by side length JK. That's a matching pair, but is it in the same format as the first one? No, so that's not allowed. That's not a proper setup for that question. Because it doesn't have sine on the bottom and sine on the bottom. It has to be matching. The second one, it's got 7.7 divided by sine of 107. Is that a matching pair? Yes. And they have it equal to the side length JK divided by sine of 40. That's a matching pair. And is it in the same format as the other one? Yeah, so you can actually use that equation to solve that question. Doctor?
Well, why can't you just take the 7.7 remove sine 107 and flip it? And that'd be okay.
If you just flip these?
Yeah.
Like that?
Is that okay?
That would be okay, but they didn't do that. You can't, like, if you were to actually do this question, you wouldn't set it up like this, right? Yeah. But you could have done that, and it would have been good. The third one, they have 7.7 divided by sine of 40. Is that a matching pair? No, so right off the bat, they've already screwed up. So the middle one is a proper setup because it has sine on the bottom and sine on the bottom. And it's side length on the top and side length on the top. It has to match. Yeah. Okay, we're setting it up properly. Let's try answering a couple properly. So, in triangle GHJ, that's what that first part says. In triangle GHJ, determine the length of GH to the nearest tenth of a centimeter. Side length GH. So this side length right here. My suggestion is pair up your angles with sides. So J would go with 44. 7.8 would go with 51. My second step that I do is I set up the one I want to look for first. And I put what I want to look for on the top. So I'm looking for side length J, right? So it goes J on the top, and it's divided by sine of 40. You can put GH, yeah. If you want to call it side GH instead of side J, that's okay. It's the same thing. Different way of referring to it. Right. But it'll always be uppercase, lowercase. Good point. Angles are always uppercase. Side lengths are always lowercase, and that's pretty important. Always set up the fraction you're looking for first. Always put the one you want to find on the top. It'll just make your life easier. If you did it backwards, you can still get the right answer. It's just going to be more difficult. Now you make it equal to your matching pair. So which one was our matching pair? 7.8 over 51. What goes on the top? The 7.8, because we have a side length on the top of the other one. That should be your proper setup with this question. So if you had this one first and this one second, it wouldn't matter. You're going to cross multiply. So now you have J is equal to 7.8 times sine of 44, all divided by sine of 51. Now before I ask you to put that in your calculator, before I ask you to try it, I want you to get your calculator out and turn it on. Once it's turned on, I want you to click mode, and you should see the word degree. You want degree to be highlighted, not radian. If radian is highlighted, click down till you're on degree and hit enter on degree. You do not want to be in radian mode. You want to be in degree mode. Please don't screw with each other and change it around, because it could cost somebody this entire unit. If you get this backwards, you'll get every question wrong. It must be in degree mode. If you borrow your calculator from somebody else, or someone has borrowed it from you, make sure before you work with your calculator that it's in degree mode. It is important. Keely.
What is radians actually used?
Radians is next year. Yeah. That's why if someone borrows your calculator, they might switch it, because they might need to use radian mode. Gainer. I'll come help you out.
Radiant just like please.
No. Radians are just very different. We'll just work with it after. Let's fix that. Is everyone in degree mode?
Yeah.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, you have to ask so I can fix your calculator for you. At some point, come give your calculator to me and be like, am I in degree mode? And I'll switch it in for degree mode for you.
Before our exam, when they reset it, does it put it back to radiant mode?
No, it doesn't.
It should reset to degree mode. It could reset to radian mode. So before your final exam, whoever is administering the final exam should say, make sure your calculator's in the proper mode. And just as a reminder to check. But it shouldn't get switched to radian unless someone purposely switches it. Yes, just for trig. But
Does it matter?
it doesn't matter for any other unit. It only matters if you're using sine, cosine, tangent, because it's working with angles. But it is really important. You will get 0 questions right if you're in degree mode or radian mode. It will still work. It'll just give you the wrong numbers.
So you're just gonna get it wrong.
Yes.
That is pretty difficult.
Yeah.
Point two.
put this in your calculator and you do it properly, make sure you use brackets. There's a reason why I put brackets around the 44 and the 51. Your calculator will automatically try to do that for you. But if I were you, I would also put brackets just around the top stuff to make sure that you are multiplying the top before dividing. Really won't make a difference, but it's always just a good habit. Be safe. What do you get for J when you put that in? 6.97 is correct. So 6.97 is the side length for J. GH or J, that's fine. Okay. If you look at your answer, does 6.97 make sense? If we compare it to the other things we know, an angle of 51 created a side length of 7.8. So an angle of 44, which is just a little bit smaller, should give you a side length that's just a little bit smaller. And it does.
That side length looks bigger.
On the picture, it's off. The picture's wrong. But the logic is right. Which is a lesson in knowing that the pictures are never to scale. Ever. So if you're going to look at your pictures and guess off of scale, it's not going to work. It won't. Not in this class. Okay, along the top. The sine law can be used in any triangle to determine what? Yeah. Yeah, it could be used to determine side length. It can also be used to find angles. The sine law can be used to determine side lengths and angles. Yeah. If what? If you have one angle and a matching side. So I call that a matching pair. So if you have a matching pair, yeah, we're going to talk about that. If you have a matching pair and because a matching pair won't do the trick. Can you three stop? If you have a matching pair and what? One other thing. One other thing. It has to be another angle or another side. You need something. You need one other something. I call them things. Let's call them sides or angles. One other side or angle. You must have a matching pair and you must have one other thing. Sometimes there will be situations where you can create a matching pair and that will help. That's the only way you can use sine law. There is another way, that's tomorrow. Cosine law doesn't mean that. Okay. We're looking at this question. In triangle MNP, only for right angle triangles. A squared plus B squared equals C squared, that's Pythagorean theorem. Only works on right angle triangles. What works for these is sine law. Sorry, Godfrey. sassy answer, dude. I'm sorry. That was attitude. That's too much sass. I'm a little hungry, you know? Whew. My apple's in my lunch kit. I didn't eat it. Little on edge. Never teach hungry. Okay. Or Jordan. In triangle MNP, determine the measure of that symbol means angle. Determine the measure of angle N to the nearest degree. So we're looking for this thing right here. What has to be here if we want to be able to use the sine law? Do we have a matching pair?
The one that we want.
We have
So we have one extra.
a matching pair. And now it asks you to find angle N. But if you look at angle N, you don't have the missing thing with it. You don't have the missing side to that angle. So you can't use sine law to find angle N, because you don't have the other side. But you do have a side. So you can find P, and in a triangle, all three angles equal 180. So if you can find two angles, you can always find the third. Stop. You need to just go for a walk. Are you okay? Okay, well, then stop looking at it. Always set up the one you're looking for first. Always put what you're looking for on the top. So, we're looking for angle P. Sine P divided by 10 is equal to sine 92 divided by 11.8. Always put what you're looking for on the top because it makes your multiplication easier. You just multiply it across to the top, and now you have sine P is equal to 10 times sine 92 divided by 11.8. If you punch that in your calculator, I think you're going to get sine P is equal to 0.8 something.
You're gonna round.
Okay,
It's 6.9.
I'm going to put 0.8469.
That's all.
Okay. Here's the problem. If you look at your triangle, does an angle of 0.8469 make sense? No, that doesn't make sense. So a lot of people would times it by 100 because percentages, that's what you do, right? These aren't percentages, these are angles. So times it by 100 will not give you the proper angle. This is sine of P. We don't want sine of P. We want just P. So how do you undo sine? The sine minus 1. Inverse sine. So if you go second sine on your calculator, and then that number, you'll get the right answer. I'm going to do it on the top here, just because I'm running out of space and I can't push my button for some reason. So you go inverse sine. It looks like that. Of 0.8469. .69. That's what's equal to P, and that gives you an angle of what? This is a valuable time to talk about angles and the fact that we always, unless otherwise stated, round angles to the nearest whole angle. So that will round to be 58. Unless otherwise stated, always do that. You're never going to get an angle that's 0 point something. It's not going to happen.
So pretty given, you know.
It's a given. It's a given you screwed up, or that you need to do one more thing. You want to undo the sign. So second sign, inverse sign. Do you remember that from last year? No? Some people are like, yeah, some people are like, no. If you're finding an angle, you always have to use second sign. Just the way it's going to be. You'll always get to this stage where you're going to have sine P is that, and then you're going to have to use second sign. Okay. P is 58, but we didn't want P. We wanted angle N. It's 40. How do you know it's 40? Because you're right. Yeah. And what did you have to add to?
90.
Yeah. All three angles have to add to be 180. So you go 180 minus the other two angles, it'll tell you the third angle.
I got 30, that's...
Yeah, 30 is right. 180 minus 150 is 30. So N is 30 degrees. Like I said, pretty easy. Not too hard. Okay, this is review. This is brand new. We've never done this before. You've got 4 triangles. Well, before we do this, if you are wanting me to do this one, so you can follow along one more time, you're gonna do 2 fingers. If you're wanting to just try it on your own and try all 4 on your own, 1 finger. So give her. Show me what you want. Do you want to follow along, or if you want to just give her a shot? What do you actually want? Okay.
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Okay. So you've been doing the bunny ears and picking your nose, and I'm no.
No.
Okay. Try the next 4 triangles on your own. So these 2 and the next 2. If you have any questions, just ask as you go along. You're looking at this one that says, determine the measure of angle PNM. It's a map. Go to P, go to N, go to M. Whatever angle you just created, that's the angle you're looking for. It's always the middle. So it's always the middle. So you're looking for angle N. It all depends on the question. But so my suggestion for doing word problems is you know you're going to have to draw a triangle, right? So whatever you're working with, better come up with a triangle. You also know that you can always look back and check your drawing to see if it makes sense. Most people draw their drawing and then just start working with their drawing and never actually check their drawing to see if it's accurate. If you check your drawing, it'll definitely help, because you'll catch your mistake early, and then the math is actually quite easy. You've done, this is as complicated as the math gets for Sine Law. You've already mastered it. So if you can just draw the diagram, the math isn't that hard. Okay, let's try it. You have some triangle DEF. The side length D to E is 5. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to draw a side length D to E. and it's 5. Then it says angle D is 8 degrees. So coming out of angle D is going to be 8 degrees. And your drawings are never going to be perfect. 8 degrees is way smaller than that. But that's okay. It doesn't really matter. Side length F to E is 8 centimeters. So now you've got a triangle, DEF. Side length D to E is 5 centimeters long. That's exactly what the question told us. Angle D is 8. Exactly what it told us. And side length FE is 8. Exactly what the thing told us. So our diagram is good. Now we just have to go on and do the math. It says solve the triangle. So to solve the triangle means you have to find everything that's missing. You have to find all the angles and all the sides. I'm going to start off by finding angle F. I chose angle F because it matches up with my other one thing. My 8 degrees and my 8 centimeters are the matching pair. You always set up what you're looking for first. Looking for side length. No, you're looking for angle F.
No, but you also.
That's what I said. Yeah, but that's not what we're doing first. I said I'm looking for angle F. So I want to go sine of F divided by, what's the matching side for angle F? 5. And it's equal to the matching pair that you have. The matching pair you have is sine of 8. And it's divided by 8 centimeters. You're going to cross multiply that 5 up. And you get sine of F is equal to 5 times sine of 8 over 8. Which is, what is sine of F though? Like, I want to know what this calculates to be the decimal.
0.0.
Julie, go ahead, read it.
0.0.
Okay, perfect. We don't want that. We don't want sine of F, we want just F. So you have to go second sine of that number. So sine -1 of that number, 0.086. And that's equal to 5 degrees, right?
5
Is it 5 degrees?
Yeah, it's 5 degrees. 5 degrees next to F is on one side. It's just long straight.
Yeah, so
It's a really
that's angle F. Now that you have two angles, you can find the third one by going 180 minus the other two. So 180 minus 5 minus 8 gives you what?
167.
167 degrees. You're right, one angle is going to be really big. You now have to find the last missing side. That's a great question. He said, what should you use to find it? Can you use either one? Can I use the F's or the D's? Either one will give you the same answer. My suggestion is always to use the one that they gave you. So use the most given information as possible. So I'm going to use the D's to get the E's. Bingo. if you're wrong on the first one and you use that information, you're definitely going to be wrong on the next one. But if you just use the information they gave you, you still have a shot at getting the next one right. It's just a safety net. That's all it is. So to find this last side up here, little e, you're going to go little e over sine of e, which we found to be 167, is equal to, and I'm going to use the d's because those were both given to us, 8 over sine of 8. Doesn't matter which one you pick. You could have done it with the s. So you're going to cross multiply, and you get e is equal to what? 12 point. You don't round to the nearest whole side length. You do the nearest 10th of the side length. Everybody good? As I said, the trig in this unit is not crazy.